Hello, everybody. So, welcome. I was acting like I was
I was saying, what did you say?
on my YouTube channel. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay. So, you are not in Sit with Chloe. This is our part two of our Building the Burnout Gap.
Bridging the burnout.
And building it.
And
We're gonna talk about building it tonight. So, last week we talked about building that gap and bridging that gap in order to build on your business when you're feeling burnout, when you're feeling overwhelmed. So if you're watching the replay, or even if you're on tonight, if you didn't watch part one, we do want to recommend that you go back, because there's some really important stuff we're going to talk about tonight that will really get you thinking if you watch that part. And it's kind of like me and Justin have talked about this a lot this year, reflection. And we really want you guys reflecting on your business. I even had one of my leaders today texting me, and she was like, wow, I literally made X amount more last year than I did this year. And I could tell her brain was going, and she was reflecting, because a lot of times we look at all the bad things, right? And I want to start with this. It's really easy to look at all the things that you didn't do right, or that you could have done better to earn the incentive right now, right? Or that you could have done better to train people. But at the end of the day, you need to be proud of where you were and where your business, and the parts of your business that you did well in, so you can multiply those and master those and make them better. But also so you can reflect at the things that you already, chances are that you already know that you need to make a change in, so you can get to world tour and be prepared, right? So you can be at that first big Cincy event of the year and be excited and be ready and know where your business was and know where you want to grow and know where you want to go. And that's my favorite part about events. And if you are going to world tour, comment in the chat box and let people know where you're going so y'all can connect. We'll be in Fayetteville. But world tour is going to be a place, you guys, where you're going to be able to learn, you're going to be able to grow, you're going to be able to take little tips and tricks home for your business. And so this is a great place to start. So we're going to start with the business eval. So I'm going to share my screen, and what I'm going to do, and it's this. And so
we had that link in the last video, and we posted it on here for you guys.
Yep. And this is Justin.
Hello.
So if you don't, y'all know who Justin is, but he's my husband. We're married.
Hi.
Yay me. I'm just kidding.
I'm wearing my bakery scent shirt.
He is. That's his favorite scent. But we're gonna get
blueberry cheesecake
over the business evaluation first, and then after I go over the business eval, because that's really what I do, I work the business and Justin looks at back end stuff. So after I go over how I did my business eval, and so you guys can get like just some ideas and to get your brain going for yours. I did type mine in on Canva. You can obviously print yours out and you can write it out. It's whatever's best for you. I love it. I love it, Tara. I love your background.
Look at that.
That's like one of my favorite warmers. I love it. That's really smart. We should steal that. I probably will. That's a good one, girl. That's smart. So we're going to look at that really quick. So I'm going to share my screen. So if you guys have your business eval, go ahead and pull it up. Okay. All right. We're going to kind of walk through this together. Okay. So I'm going to make this big.
So you want me to show you how to do it? Okay. Yeah.
I know.
You figured it out.
Baby Chloe, growing up, man. Okay. So on your business eval, okay, so again, we talked about this last week, kind of things that can lead to burnout, what it looks like, ways to get into different habits, to create a sustainable business, a foundation. Those are all things last week that are leading you here. And I'm going to be honest, like, it takes a lot of time that we don't want to take to reflect. Amen. It's much easier for us to just be like, I'm going to change my goal this week. I'm going to do it different this month. But listen, as I sat yesterday, or walked per se, while I was typing this, it really made me proud of myself. And I promise you, as y'all are filling this out, there's going to be parts in your business where you're going to be like, I didn't sponsor like I needed to, but at least I sponsored somebody. Or I didn't sell like I wanted to, but at least I sold X amount. So this is really important. Y'all can go to your bar report to find this information, okay? So,
and I put on the pages, if you've never accessed your bar report I put on the pages instructions on how to get
so it's literally your reporting tab, my performance, view sales performance, bar report. So easy. Okay. And so this is where, that's really where you can even print all that out.
When you joined till right now, it shows everything in your business from a performance.
And what was
standpoint.
interesting in mine, and I haven't talked with Justin about this, but there was a significant dip in my sponsoring specifically when I started losing my joy in the business. Okay. There also was a significant drop in my kind of leadership per se. Whenever I was feeling really overwhelmed, whenever I was feeling like really stressed out. So I also want y'all to go back and look at just the 2 previous years. Okay. If you've been here for 3 years or even just last year, look back at when your sponsoring was a little higher or your sales were a little higher, or when you were paid at title more. And I want you to think about between the gap of then and now, why did the burnout happen? So you can identify that, so you can make those habit changes we talked about last week.
Yep.
So you can go into this year feeling strong and empowered and encouraged. So what went well? So you're going to put your PRV here. Okay. This is whole last year. This is in your bar report. How many you sponsored? Okay. What went well for me? I did not earn annual mentor last year. I was actually 1 away or 2 away. Was it
One away.
a 1? But I did earn annual sales, and I'm very proud of that. Sponsoring has not just been difficult for me, it's been difficult for a lot of leaders in Cincy. So I also want you guys to know that's okay. We're not going to sit here and look at people sponsoring 1 million people, right, that are doing great and be mad at them. We're going to look at them. We're going to look at the Courtney Reyes's and Jen Brandts and all these other
Serena
people.
Norton up there.
Serena, and we're going to look at these people and we're going to learn from them, because that truly, I can't stand the word better together. I hate that term, but that truly is the intertwined sense of community and in Cincy, where we can really lift each other up and go up to these people at World Tour, you guys, that you know are killing it in the areas that you want to grow in, so you can hear what they're doing and vice versa. Okay. Also what went well. So personal growth. So I want y'all to know personal growth doesn't just mean in Cincy. I actually don't want you thinking about Cincy at all when you're thinking about personal development. I want you thinking about things you did last year. Maybe it was getting in your community. Obviously, you can see my life needed a lot of super help. So I got involved in all these things, which was really good for me. I got a life coach. They do have life coaches everywhere. Some places insurance does cover it too. I got into some Bible studies, serving in youth, but maybe it was just new friends groups. Maybe it was getting into the community. Maybe it was just going and taking walks, doing something for yourself. Personal growth is so important, because to me, that's what matures you. And you need to grow wiser in this business as you're in this business. Because Cincy, to me, it's not just about you guys being in Cincy now. It's what are you going to do with all of these tools y'all are getting to take into your future? So the next sheet you guys have is what went well. Okay. These are just some things that I did that went well. And in the comments, by the way, I'm going to pull the chat up. I don't know if y'all can see that chat, but I'm pulling it up. Y'all also say some things that went well in your business in the comments. Okay, good. So y'all are already saying some stuff. That's awesome, Tara. You got baptized. I love that. Yes, girl. Justin said you got dipped in the water. I love it. Serena sponsored 22 last year. Yeah, heavy hitter sponsor. She's one you want to talk to at World Tour. So as you guys are kind of commenting and sharing what went well with your PRV and all of those things and your sponsoring, now we're going to look at what went well in a deeper dive. So now you can see the first part, the first sheet was your PRV, your recruiting, those kinds of things. Now this sheet is like, well, how did you do that? Right? So for me, what went well last year, I decided, so this is important. If you are struggling in PRV, I want you to look at what you're doing and what you're not doing. For me, I knew I needed to increase some home parties. I knew I needed to get back to bag parties. I loved those. And I wanted to try events. Some were great. Some were catastrophically awful, but I still did them. We still did them. Because we had to, and it grew us. And I'm so thankful for people like never again. As Justin hasn't done one home party or bag party or event for me. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and say that. So with my home parties, my bag parties, my events last year, that helped me get back to a new rhythm.
Joining the business again too.
Well, no, a work rhythm.
Yeah.
In 2020 and 2021, Justin talked about this last week. Sales were different. People were click, trigger, ordering quicker. The relationship piece got lost. So listen to me. events, home parties, bag parties, little sip and shops, anything like that where you can be relational. I can promise you that's going to help your business. Some other things I want you guys thinking about: how did you train your teams? For me, I'm going to be totally transparent. Up until last fall, I took about a full year off of doing coaching calls, of doing anything. I was so burned out. Some of you guys know a little bit about this. I was so burned out and so frustrated. And I was like, I need to take a pause. And let me tell you something, that is the best thing I did for my business. I was able to sit back for a minute. I did still post on my team pages. I was working my business, but I was able to go back in this fall, starting with the retreat I helped lead in September. And I was like, I'm going to do work in Zooms. So the biggest thing I can tell you with your teams right here is, if you are struggling with connection with your teams, you need to jump back in, because leaders go first. You've got to quit telling yourself that you don't have time to do monthly meetings. You don't have time to do this. If you don't have time to do that, then you don't have time to build a team, because building a team takes relationship, it takes effort, and it takes you going first. So this is just an example of one thing. So I want you guys to think about it. It could be recognition. And some of y'all can see in the comments some amazing things you guys did last year. It may be that you were doing monthly recognition, banners on your team pages, team chats, group me challenges, individual challenges, teaming up certifieds together, teaming up leads together, the list goes, meeting for coffee, doing coaching calls. Okay. So building leaders, this is a really big thing I want you guys focusing on this year, because 99% or 100% of the leaders I work with, you guys want to build leaders. This is my word this year. Build is a big focus of mine and a big focus of Justin's. And so with building your leaders, I want you to look at this, and I want you to find one thing that you did last year. Even if they didn't promote, what were you doing to try to help them? I want you to still pull things that you were doing and being consistent in, because just because they didn't promote, that's not always a reflection of you. I have tons of people that can hit certified right now that literally ignore me when I text them. That's not my problem. Same with leads, same with stars, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? And so I want you guys to pull something that did go well with your leaders last year. For me, I started coaching calls again, but I did it very different. So when you're doing your business eval, when we get into the what you're going to do this year, I want you to look at, okay, when I do this next year, when I fill this out in 2025, am I going to be proud of the changes I've made? For me, I started coaching different leaders every month. I used to coach the same leaders over and over and over. It was so psychotic. I continued working with the same people. And I'm saying this because some of you guys are doing that, and you need to get off that train, and you need to find new people. You need to dig into your downline if you're a director or above. You need to make sure you're digging deep and you're going out and you're not just coaching your front line. That's a really, really big thing. So that I saw a great result in coaching different kinds of people throughout our community. This is something I suck at, training myself. I'm going to be really honest. I don't even have anything that really went well with it, because being transparent, I was so burnt out from the last 11 years with Cincy, and just with a lot of pains and a lot of things I went through, that for me, my business was just on the way back burner. Like I was like, I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just going to get this done. And one thing that I am growing in this year is my own, like leading myself and going and finding not Cincy trainings, but trainings from entrepreneurs and business owners, so I can be a better business owner. So that is something I need to work on. Okay, the next one, I'm not going to go over all this, but then you'll have your sheet where you really need your bar report. Okay, paid at title. This is huge. If I've ever coached you before, you know that this is so important as a leader. This is your trigger point. This is your target. You should be looking at, I need you to get off your phone for real.
Making sure people were having trouble getting off, so I'm just making sure people are in.
Okay. Well, CC's right there. So when you are looking at your business, you want to aim to be paid at title by the middle of the month. Oh my gosh, that sounds so crazy, Chloe. No, like you need to aim to get paid at title by the middle of the month. This is going to increase your leadership, your efficiency, your sponsoring, and your sales, your front loading. This is going to help increase all of that. But you know what, Katrina? That's still 50%. And that's a lot better than 10 or 5 or 0. That's actually huge. That's actually, if they pulled all of Cincy leaders, that would be way, way above average. Like, that's huge. So, and that's a great starting point, because then you can look at, okay, what went well with how I was leading, what went well with my personal business, and where do I need to grow? So paid at title, you guys, are super important to look at and identify right here. This is very important to me. I've always focused on leading and selling and recruiting and training. And I can tell you that stool, that 3 legs of success, which is at the end of this business evaluation that you guys have, needs to be printed out. It needs to be on your phone. It needs to be in your office. If those 3 legs are not strong, your business is not going to stand. Okay. So comparison, what went well, right? So you guys can see some things I put. So share some things you guys put in the comments on with comparison. Comparison's big. It is huge. It's huge with everything. Like, it's huge with anything, not even business related. You can look at diets. We can look at clothing. We can look at outfits. Anything you can compare yourself to. You can look at how moms are. You know, you can feel like you're always comparing yourself. So these are things I grew in this year. Also, down here at the bottom, I forgot what that one said. Oh yeah, focusing on IPAs. So these are different things I did this last year to focus on income producing activities. Y'all know I'm big on time blocking. I changed my business hours. So I was off on Wednesdays. Everybody's going to look different. It depends how you work, full-time, part-time, or have another job and still do Cincy full-time. And then I did consistent team trainings once a month. Y'all know I started that. Sometimes I did them twice a month, no matter who showed up. And then I did consistent coaching. Those are IPAs. These are things that increased my productivity. They were things that helped me make more money, be more efficient, and be more effective. That's what an IPA is, okay? Growth mindset. So think about things that you did last year. Did you attend Cincy events? Did you get on our trainings? There's so many of you guys on right now that were so dedicated to the work and Zooms. So many of y'all. And I want y'all to look at that whenever you're writing down what did go well, because that's a growth mindset. Showing up, being hungry, sharing on how I'm working on your own team pages, going in your little chats you have with your team and not giving up, sitting down in your office and making samples and doing the hard things when you failed the day before. That is a growth mindset. And I could do a whole training on this, but that is so important. And I'm so proud of every single one of you that pushed through this fall and pushed through this new era that we're in right now of Cincy, of work ethic. And that's why you guys are going to be the 1%, those of you that step up and really just continue to get, exactly, Angela, 1% better every day. Okay. And that's what my coach says at the gym all the time. Just focus on 0.1%, run 0.1% faster, lift 0.1% heavier. So, and then I planned my first retreat with some other leaders that are SSDs, and a couple of the leaders on here went, and it was great. And it propelled me and Justin to get ready to do our own. And so that's exciting. So now you're going to look at this year. This is where I want y'all to get super excited. This part, when you're filling this part out, this is where I want you to dream. This is where I want you to stop acting like you deserve a small business. This right here is where you're going to build a big business for this year. Okay. So you can see up here, you have your organization and structure. What are things that have went well since January 2024 that you're dreaming in? Me and Justin wanted to go ahead and launch off a training for you guys on making sure that we can help you bridge those areas and those gaps in your brain that are causing you to be burnt out. So we did it. Leaders go first. We are planning our first leadership retreat, which hopefully, if it goes well, will be the first of many that we will eventually be able to invite some of you guys on. I evaluated my time blocks. I'm going to change some of those up. I'm changing the way I sample. I am not sampling all the things anymore. I'm done. I want to give them a couple choices and that's it. Everything else is stickers. We're done. And then I'm by the grace of God ending this incentive strong. I know a lot of y'all are there with me, but it's in the hands of the Lord at this point. Consistency. You know, what are some things that you guys are proud of yourself for being consistent? Now, it is still in January. I get you're like, Chloe, it just started. but you can even put on here things that you know you want to get consistent in. Right. And so for me, I'm going to continue the monthly trainings. Y'all like that? It helps you feel connected. It helps you learn and grow. I'm going to continue that. So looking at things with your team that, you know, maybe you haven't done anything with your team. I'm going to be transparent. Some of y'all ain't doing nothing. Step up and start doing coffee dates at Starbucks on the first and third Saturday of the month and bring samples. Start building relationship with your teams and get consistent. Your team is looking at what you consistently do, not just what you do when you feel like it. They're looking at what you're consistently doing. Okay. And here's some other things just that I'm being consistent. I'm doing customer categorization with my customers. I'm going to talk about that more at World Tour. And we also have a training on my YouTube channel on that, but y'all know about that. Time blocks and sampling, social media strategies. This is a big one, but I don't want you to like sink in this. Okay. So these are just some things that I'm doing. I focus a lot on local community expansion. So I'm actually connecting with local business owners here. There's one girl who does jewelry. I just signed up to do a charm bar with her in like 2 weeks. That has nothing to do with Scentsy, awesome. Right? So socially though, there's going to be other artsy and entrepreneurial women there, right? So thinking about your community expansion is something that can really help you. And I found the charm bar on social media, like literally found it on Instagram. So that's what I mean by community expansion on social, focusing on communicating with customers intentionally. So again, this is mine, but yours can be something where, yeah, and social media is hard, Katrina, and that's why it's a struggle for me, because I will look a lot of times at people getting all these likes, and I have to focus on like, what am I really trying to do here, right? Like your military, there's so much connection that you know that you can do as long as you stay focused and you plug in there, but then also just expand more in your community.
Can I say something?
Find other business owners that are women. Yeah.
So you're not alone, Katrina. Social media is hard. And it's funny because if you hear our training coming up for World Tour, I mentioned this in this part of the training.
Yeah, he is.
So the one thing I'll say about social media, and this is where people miss the mark with social media and what social media was actually created for. And this is something that we've had to sit down with a lot of our clients. And I always use this example. One of my clients has a social media profile and may only have 2,000 followers as a business, but the business does almost $850 million a year in sales, and just barely puts up posts, barely does anything. But their social media, those 2,000 followers are all engaged followers.
Yeah.
And so I know that for some reason people think success in social media is based off followers and likes. Social media, in my opinion, is more successful whenever you're following the first word of what it is, and that's being social. Knowing your customer's got a son that's about a birthday coming up, knowing one of your customers is about to start selling Girl Scout cookies, which if none of you guys have done that, that would be the first thing, seeing how many of my friends that are not Scentsy consultants' daughters are about to start selling Girl Scout cookies, so that way you can get in contact.
And this is why
connecting and
but
looking.
People in Scentsy used to get so mad at me. I've been talking about this for 3 years when I was like, look, I'm not following all these Scentsy consultants. It's overwhelming. And people were like, Chloe Cox is so rude. And I'm like, okay, well, now y'all see why, because you've lost the customer. And if you would look through my DMs, if I look through right now, yeah, there's a good mix of Scentsy consultants DMing me, but 75 to 80% are different women all over the world and in community that I've connected with or shared their content because it was funny or I liked it. Like, has nothing to do with Scentsy, but it's that community that is gravitating towards you,
and intentionality,
not because you sell Scentsy necessarily, but because, and everybody, I think it was Michelle in here said that she's boring. Look, everybody has something funny and quirky and like different about them. So just be you too on social. But that's why I wanted to share, Katrina, like things I'm focusing on here, because it seems like with social media, there's like, well, I should schedule post and I should do all this. Don't think like that with social. Think, okay, how can I put a large focus on community expansion? How can I go out and find different people to connect with in the community? How can I focus on really being intentional with customers, like Justin said? And then with my content, we talk about this, a lot of people do in Scentsy, but truly focusing on different things you love, and sharing that, right? So like Katrina with military, like, sharing coffee confession stuff in your story that you love and different things you connect with is going to help other women, you know what I mean, be able to connect with you, whether it be a funny reel you share or whatever. So keep that in mind too. All those little things the consumer and your community is looking at on social. And then simplicity. We don't even need to get into that. Y'all already know what you probably need to put on that sheet that you want to implement this year to be simple, right? For me, y'all can see I'm not doing fluff. I'm sticking to my time block, and then I do a monthly checklist. I'm doing relational recruiting. I'm not begging everybody to join. I'm doing relational recruiting, and I'm stopping all the samples because I'm just not doing all that. This part's great too, and I'm going to speed up with this so Justin can talk. Where are you going? This is my favorite part of the sheet, you guys. Mine is on cardstock, by the way. I highly recommend, like, you can laminate this or just put this somewhere in your office or in a binder or somewhere, so you can really make sure that when you need to know what to focus on in your business this year, you're going to pull up this sheet and you're going to pull up this sheet right here that we're looking at. This is going to keep you focused this year. This is going to help you know where you need to go. These are things you're going to keep. So what are you going to keep from all the stuff you filled out? And I'm so thankful Jen Anderson shared this plan with me at the first retreat I went to, because it changed my business. Because she's the one, her and Megan Merlin made this, and I'm so glad they shared it. But this helped me have a focus. You need a focus bigger than a monthly goal when you go into a new year. You need to look back at where your business was, and you need to know, what am I going to keep? What am I going to change? What am I going to toss? Like, what are we done with? Period. We're not asking for help. We're not going on a Scentsy page. We're going to draw a line and say, I'm not doing that anymore. It didn't work. It didn't work. And then what do I want to start? So I'm going to keep my coaching calls. Guys, coaching is great. Figure out how to do it. I'm going to continue monthly trainings with y'all. I'm going to keep my social media focus. I'm going to keep aiming for high PRV. I'm going to keep my team and leadership page community. I'm going to keep customer expansion focus through community, because that's been working for me. So through bag parties, home parties, online, it depends. That's why I said per the season. Different seasons call for different kinds of PRV and parties. I'm changing my leadership. Me and Justin are ready to amp it up. It's been 11 years. It's time to do retreats. We're starting our first one in April, and I am so pumped. We have some really awesome leaders going, and I'm hoping that this is going to be, I don't even know, just I can feel a big change in our leaders growing leaders, like our leaders growing leaders through these events. I'm changing samples, and I'm changing the way I sponsor. I'm going to toss excessive samples. I'm done. I've already created a lot of new signage. I'll be sharing as I simplify my signage and what I'm doing on our How I'm Working page, just so y'all know. I'm finalizing it, but I'm keeping it very simple. This is my club worthy scent of the month. This is my scent of the month, and this I'm going to do 2 counter cleans for the whole season. That's it. I'm not doing LTO sampling anymore. I'm not doing any of that. I'm done. If it is an LTO sample, it's going to be like the Valentine's Day collection, or a collection I actually like. I'm not sampling anymore just because it was Mickey Mouse that came out. If I don't like the scent, and I don't think my customers will, I'm not sampling it. It's been a waste of my money. I'm not doing it anymore. And massive event focus. So for me, a lot of my events didn't go super well. So I learned what events to focus on and what not from incorporating them last year. You're not going to know what to change if you don't do it. And then here's what I'm going to start. Okay. So, and then business tasks, me and Justin haven't started this yet, because we just have not had time yet, but we're going to get a new system for how I keep up with my business tasks. It's going to be color coordinated because I'm visual. So it's going to help me even more with my time blocks, and it's going to help me know what I need to focus on. And when I do it, I'm going to make sure I like highlighted a certain way, so I can look at the end of the month and see what did I do and what did I not do, so I can just have that extra check. So I'll share with y'all what I end up doing, and that's it. Y'all don't need to worry about that. And that's the 3 legs of success. Make sure y'all have this printed out. This is your Scentsy Bible right here. If your business is struggling,
balance the stool.
That's all. And please take care of yourself. I need y'all to be alive and healthy. Okay, so Justin is
Yay.
so Justin is going to share. Oh, does anybody have like any questions about the business analysis report, or does it make sense? Y'all are good. I'm loving the engagement. It's great. Cool. Okay. Yeah, use your bar report. Fill this out. You're gonna feel really good. This right here is gonna make you be like, I'm ready. Even when I filled mine out yesterday, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like now I'm ready. Like I'm ready. So
Ready to roll.
ready to roll, man. Okay, so now Justin's gonna share a little bit.
And I don't have a lot to share. Chloe actually went over a lot of the stuff here, and what I want to go over for a little bit is kind of the why, I guess, behind this. And my hope for you guys is what you're taking away from this.
And we will share the notes, by the way, too. We do have notes we typed out from last week and this week, so y'all can have those.
Yeah, I just want to say that, in any business, there is a lot of variables that go over the success of a business, which is why that bar report is very important, because it's a good way for you to self-assess. There's that saying, you don't know where you've been until you've seen or where you're going until you've seen where you've been. And I think that that's important for you to go back and look. And if you haven't been with Cincy in a while, you can actually go ahead and start now and see how you're doing month to month, year over year. That way you can come up with a plan.
But then
that's
also,
accurate
can
to
I
your
say
business.
this? This is so good. And this is something our old pastor who passed away a few years ago said, and I'll never forget it. Look back and reflect, get your plan. But he always used to say, what can't be won't be if you don't let go of what could have been.
Yeah.
So also keep that in mind of what you need to let go of, so you can step into that new area.
Yeah. And I just think, my recommendation is to use this business evaluation immediately. For those of you that want this to be a actual business for you, I always say Cincy is a great vessel for you to see if you're cut out to be a business owner. And this is stuff when I go and speak, I speak once or twice a year at the College of Entrepreneurship here. And I tell all of them, if you want to figure out if you're cut out to own a business, if you want to figure out if you're cut out to do anything from an entrepreneurship, starting a business from the ground up, my recommendation while you're in school is to get into sales somehow, whether that be through an MLM and go out, hear the word no, go out and start a business, go out and develop. And I'm so tired of hearing this too. A lot of people will say, well, I'm introverted, extroverted. I don't believe in labels. I think they're crazy. I think everybody can do anything. It's just about developing that muscle and developing that habits. I think people will use labels to put themselves in a wall, and then you're automatically limit yourself. There's times where I don't want to talk to people. Chloe will tell you that right now. I'm probably one of the most extroverted people, or like to go out and be sociable. But there are some times where I don't want to be bothered and talk to anybody.
When?
In big crowds, like if there's
Disney, Disney.
Yeah. There's certain areas where my flight or flight kicks in. So I just hate labels, and I feel like a lot of people will say I'm a type 6 or I'm an Enneagram, or
I've never done that test.
Or I'm an EJKTP. There's so many different.
That's how I am. I don't need to feel anything.
But what I'm saying is, if a lot of people say start the year off and like do this test to see what your dreams are. No, you don't need to do any of that. Just start like something and go out and do something and go off and So Serena says she did Enneagram today. See, look.
And if you told me what it said, Serena, I'd be like, yeah, I knew that about you. And you'd be like, I knew it. But I want to say this too. My friend Megan Merlin, in her story the other day, she's excellent. She's the SSD, but she was talking the other day and she said, action produces action. And I was like, that is so good. Like, even if you don't feel like it, or you feel introverted, or you feel like if you do an action, another action is going to happen. I was like, dude, that's so simple and so solid.
Yeah. And so what I like to always say too is this, and I just wanted to say that because I just feel like a lot of people get tied into labels. And when you look at your business, and then another thing, I've shared this formula all the time. If you want to be successful at anything, if you want to hit your goals, there is a formula for success. It's A times E equals R. That's activity times effectiveness equals the results you want to get. The activity is filling out the business evaluation. How are you going to get to the R? That's the most important thing. You can fill out this out all day long. You can self-assess, you can fill it out, you can do it as much as you want to. Writing it down doesn't do it though. What does it is the many habits that are developed over this year, over the months, and assessing and looking at what you're doing, what's working. So that's what you have to do now. When you fill out this business evaluation, now it's every quarter, every month, whatever you need to do. And you have to give it some time to work because a new system and whatever you do does not work
And
immediately.
if all else fails, we're going to make you do it once a year. So we'll be
Yes.
back next year.
But that's what I want to say. And we just had conference at our does he see just open that back door?
Yeah, just focus, honey.
Sorry.
He's fine.
All right, so we just had conference at our church, and I loved it. So I'm a musician. I play the electric guitar and acoustic at our church, and it was crazy because before we go on stage, our pastor, our worship pastor, always shares something with us, and she shared something, and it blew my mind because it's something I never thought about. And sorry, I'm not trying to get very spiritual, but I just think it's relevant to what we're talking about tonight. So back in the day, in the times of Abraham, Isaac, all of them.
Not Abraham.
Basically, what I'm saying is basically what they would do, and you can read this in Genesis if you read the Bible. If not, you've heard the story before. I know you have because everybody's heard it in Bible school some way, shape, or form.
Just get to it.
Whenever God did something or whenever something happened, they built pillars. And so what those pillars wasn't anything special. It was literally just a stack of rocks. Okay. That way they can always remember what happened. So whenever they seen that stack of rocks, they remember what happened and the blessing there. All right. Flash forward to this year, we were sitting in conference and saying the previous year's conference. So conference from 2023, she just was honest and was like, I don't remember the rocks I stacked because I was so busy getting involved in everything else to where I missed what happened. So don't let that happen this year to where you miss what happens because you don't have the time to reflect and see. Remember this, what you write down. That way you're building that up right now to where you can go back and look at it.
Because the enemy definitely doesn't want you to reflect, by the way.
He doesn't want you to remember what happened right now.
He wants you to feel like you absolutely suck. So, and you don't.
That was good.
That's
so
a whole other thing.
that
was good.
But that was just something I heard, and I think it's relevant to this because I guarantee you right now, you guys don't remember what happened January of 2023. Of where you were at, the state you were in, or you may be doing this, but I know I wasn't. I don't remember what happened at conference last year, and none of us in the back room could remember exactly what happened in that moment that we were going to change for that year.
That is true.
So remember that. Remember the altar you're building up in your business right now, and hold on to that for the rest of the year.
Said she don't remember last week.
But that's what I'm saying. So you have to.
A lot of kids.
I know. So you have to start doing little things to make you remember what you did. That way you can reflect. This business evaluation is one thing.
And that's another reason why we decided to do the retreat.
Exactly.
Because I was like, we're missing.
And you remember that. That's something that you're always going to reflect on, and you do it.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing. So that's how you build. You know what it is. You know how to do the time blocking. You're going to fill out this business eval, find an accountability partner to hold you accountable to that business eval to where you can share and talk. Get a couple of y'all, 5 or 6 of y'all, however many it is, to where y'all talk on a monthly basis or remember, nobody is your boss.
Yeah.
So you have to be accountable to yourself. And if you can't be accountable to yourself, get somebody to remind you of what you said you were going to do. So you do it. And then in January, you can say, I got it done. That's the most important thing. Make these goals so simple and realistic. I have said this so many times. Do not say I want to do 2,000 PRB a month. Do not do that. Say I want to reach out to 5 new customers this week, and I'm going to do that by reaching out to 1 new customer a day. It's the many habits and the many ticks that are going to get you up there. 2,000 may be your overall goal, but how are you going to do it? I am going to have 2 bag parties, and in order for me to get 2 bag parties out, I'm going to reach out to 20 people and 10 returning clients or 10 returning customers, and I'm going to do that for 1 hour a day where I reach out to 5 people. You have to get that basic when you're doing these goals, because if you just throw a number out there, I'm going to hit annual sales, 30,000. That sounds easy to do, but let's talk about it.
Well, now it's January, sis. So like Katrina said in the comments, is perfect. And annual sales is a great place to start with that. So you need to look at 30,000 divided by 12 months is 2,500 a month. But depending on
divided by 52. weeks, and you know what you need to get on a
Yes.
weekly basis.
You
Get
can
even
for
smaller
sure.
than
Yes,
that.
you can get even smaller, but I'm just saying, look at how much you've sold from May 1st to right now at this moment, subtract it to by 30,000 and see how much PRV you need in the next 3 months. If you want to hit annual sales, by the way, you can.
So
But you've got to have those smaller focus goals to hit it's almost like saying, I want to reach my goal weight of 135 pounds, but I'm just gonna like work out a little bit or
yeah,
whatever, or I want to reach my goal weight of 160 pounds, or I want to, like it's the same thing, but in a business matter, because businesses can't stay afloat if
no.
they don't reach
And
their
so
sales
the
goals.
most successful businesses that I see that I work with are businesses to where they clearly communicate to the employees what the expectation is, and they coach them how to get there. So for instance, at the bank, whenever I was the manager at the bank, we had a new, let's say, checking account goal where we had to have 10 checking account goals that day. All right. So basically, what we did was the week prior, you always wanted to make sure yourself was set up for success through appointments, whatever it is you needed to do. If you didn't have anybody, we needed to do some calling, and we needed to get out in the community to meet people. In order to make my bankers feel like the goals were attainable, I would say, well, let's not look at it like that. Let's look at it as one per day, reach out to 20 customers today. You can do that. That's a realistic goal. I'll sit in with you on some conversations you're having. So
And
on,
that's
so
what
forth
we
and
need
so
to coach, and we can do another series with you guys in February on that to help you guys learn how to do those things.
And so that's just
down for
so
your
just
team.
breaking it down for yourself, and you got to make things simple. Whenever a goal looks difficult, even with the incentive, everything else, when something looks extremely difficult, you make it better on your mind whenever you break things down as simple as possible. A lot of you feel overwhelmed that you don't feel like you have the time to do it. I promise you, if you just say to yourself, I'm reaching out to 10 customers today, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to either do it through text, phone, messenger, however I reach out to these customers. I'm going to check today. And if somebody's trying to grow social medias and build relationship, a great way to do that is, whose birthday is it today? Oh man, I haven't talked to them in a long time. Facebook is great for that. It's a great cold calling prospecting thing, because you're like, wow, look at all these birthdays today. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go on here and say happy birthday to this person and just see how they've been. Then I'm be like, oh my gosh, I got something I want to send to you. I'll send it to you. Just give me your address. You don't have to say what it is, and just send them something and just say happy belated birthday or something like that. You can get creative with it, but that's just what I'm saying. You have to be in that mindset of always prospecting and always feeling like, if I don't get Cincy in anybody's nose, I'm doing a disservice, because guess what? They could smell something, they could change the world, because that scent gives them the energy to do it.
Yeah, and let me just pause really quick and say this, because Alexandria brought up a really good point. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to repeat her statement. She said, I do this with everything in my business. If I'm overwhelmed, I shut down and nothing gets done. I'm going to give a perfect example of how to get out of that. Okay. And y'all probably already
No, that's what she's saying.
Yes. So
She breaks it down. Like she's saying,
she said, I shut down and nothing gets done.
If she doesn't break things down small.
Right.
Oh,
but I'm also going to say this. So this actually happened to me today. So I was very overwhelmed because I'm very behind. I've had a lot of deadlines to hit. So you know what I did? I stopped, I ate, and I sat on the floor in my living room and watched a show. And after 30 minutes of watching the show, I said, okay, go make your samples and go do your mail outs and get up and do it. So if you're overwhelmed or get overwhelmed, the worst thing you can do is continue to put it off. Take 20, 30 minutes. If you need to have a snacky, eat a snack or whatever you need to do, and then get up and go. I literally was like, okay, let's go. And I got up, and if your spouse is supportive, if anybody does have spouse that supports you, I was like, you need to take CC to gymnastics. I need to get these stuff made for these customers. So I just wanted to say that, because I know a lot of people get overwhelmed because there is a lot to do in this business. Take 30 minutes, but don't let that procrastination and overwhelmed feeling become a shutdown forever. Just shut down for like 20 minutes, breathe, and then get back into it, because you'll feel so much better when it's done.
Yeah, that's good.
Anything else before we end?
Yeah, so the only other thing I'm going to say, and Chloe said this too, simplicity is growth's best friend. Complexity will stop growth immediately. The moment you start trying to add something else, you will stop the growth in your business and you will create burnout a lot more, way faster than you would if not. Momentum is something that you want in your business, and you can sustain momentum. You sustain momentum by keeping things simple and having joy in your business. And that starts with keeping things simple and doing the right activities and having the right habits to where you feel like you're doing something you're proud of and you're changing people's
Well, and
lives.
looking at, so I'm just gonna say it really quick, like with sampling, right? The reason I'm changing it is because I was always sampling these LTOs and I was like, they're gonna add it to club, they're gonna add it to club. No, I'm just gonna pick my favorite scents that like March scent of the month. Send that to everybody. That needs to be a scent. Y'all send to everybody. I made a label that says like club worthy. Why? Because if it's a scent that I'm obsessed with, and most of us have a pretty good scent profile for what a consumer is gonna want, that's the one that you need to sample. You don't need to sample every single LTO. Like there was the It's a Small World one. I don't even know why I sampled that. Like nobody
It
bought it.
smelled good,
Your
but it's just
customer may have, but I'm just saying, if you're finding yourself like always sending these samples or doing all this, focus on the OG scents. Focus on the scents that Scentsy says are the best sellers in the news tab. Focus on the scents that your team freaks out whenever they get it. Okay. Focus on the Valentine's Day collection. That's a great LTO to sample. However, the next collection that comes out, it may not be. Don't feel like you got to buy it on a Monday. Okay. Don't feel like you got to buy that bar. Yeah, that's something.
do not
that
sample amaretto in the Bring Back My Bar.
Jesus, fix it.
Unless you like that amaretto. I don't know.
Anyways, we're
That
gonna
is
go
it.
ahead and we are gonna stop the recording.